Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon, and welcome to the EAC Show. Coming to you from sunny South Florida. We got Marcus Smack on the sound.
Yo.
We got Clarence Josie on the video.
It is.
We got Emilio Jr.'s in the building. And sitting next to me, you got UCF activist, overall sports enthusiast, the big one, Cameron Din. And Cameron, what's going on, man?
Another night. How we doing?
Good to see you, man. How's everything?
It's good. It's good as always, man.
We got a lot of topics to talk about today. Nice, decent slate. Marcus Mack, why don't you give us the topics for today's show?
Yeah, well, we definitely going to talk about XFL Week 5, dates, times, lines. And then we're going to come in with the EAC headlines.
EAC headlines. We started EAC headlines last week. We got a good response, and a lot of people liked it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we get into that, before we get into our bread and butter, which is XFL, here on the show, we like to give a shout out to our sound man, Marcus Mack. His daughter, Janiyah, is 7 years old today. Yeah. Extremely happy. We saw the pictures on IG of them having a good time today. So we want to give them a special shout out, but we want to do it our own special way at the EAC Show. So we're going to say happy birthday to Janiyah in 3 claps. Happy birthday, Janiyah, in 3 claps. Hey, there you go. Happy birthday, Janiyah.
Big lucky
Happy
7.
birthday, man.
The big
Happy
7.
birthday.
Big 7. Enjoy that little girl, man.
All right.
So let's get into this XFL talk this week. Week 5, Week 4 was a great week. The numbers were still 1 million viewers. 1.5 million viewers are still watching XFL football.
Yeah, on average, 1.5 million per game watching, which is still great numbers this far into this new league. So
absolutely,
it's exciting to see what it's going to be able to become. And when we get into playoffs, I think it's going to jump up from there.
And the football is carrying it.
Yeah, absolutely. The love for our football is absolutely carrying it. It's not just the quality; it's people just want to watch football.
Exactly. So let's go. So I'm gonna. Are you actually gonna be able to cover games this weekend?
I am. Yes. We have I'm using a backup system to be able to cover our games. That's how committed I am.
Okay. So Saturday's first game I got. Saturday's second game you got.
I got. Yes.
All right. So let's go.
Same with Sunday too. So I got the 9 p.m. game. So I'm all right with it. But
you'll be up late.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm up late usual anyway. But as far as this Week 5 slate, we have just as far as where you can find these games and the times, we'll jump into the lines afterwards. But Seattle is playing at Houston on Saturday at 2 p.m. That's on ABC. We have New York Guardians at Dallas Renegades. That's 5 p.m. on Fox. And then on Sunday, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks at the DC Pretenders at 3 p.m. on FS1.
You keep calling them that, man. I'm not calling them that until they lose a game at home.
That's my own signature. Well, now they have a game at home, and it's against the number one team in the league, but in the power rankings, the number 2 team, the Seattle Battlehawks. So this is the true test.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
Excuse me, thank you, the St. Louis Battlehawks. So this is the true test to find out if they're really pretenders, in your eyes at least. And then on Sunday, the late game, Tampa Bay Vipers at LA Wildcats at 9 p.m. that late game on the West Coast. That's on ESPN.
Man, I'm going to watch every game. I'm going to tune into every game. I'm going to put up a poll as well for every game to see what the fans really think, who they're going with, who the public wants to see win, and so forth and so on. So let's get into game 1, and we're going to talk about the first game on Saturday.
Yes, that's Seattle at Houston. That line is inflated. That's a 12.5 line. Houston's way, obviously, at Houston. Emilio, what's your pick as the second week in a row?
I'm gonna take Seattle plus 12.5 with the points. I think Houston wins the game. I'm gonna state that again, Mr. XFL, Mr. PJ Walker, Mr. All Everything. I think Cam Phillips ends up having a really big game amidst the slow game that he had last week. Although, like I said in the last episode, it was because P.J. Walker was taking what the Dallas Renegades was giving him.
Yeah.
So when they were sitting there and they were putting double coverage on Cam Phillips, he was literally going to the other receivers and sitting there saying, look, you want to go handle that? That's fine. No problem. Our job is to overall win the game, which they ended up doing. They got that extra $100,000. They're up $400,000 for the season,
That's right.
which everybody's happy with. So, in all actuality, like I said, I think the Houston Roughnecks win the game, but the Seattle Dragons end up covering the spread.
So Seattle with the points you're taking. You're taking the 12.5 points. I am taking the Houston Roughnecks, minus 12.5. The reason being is that the Dragons last week, they covered their plus 10 against the St. Louis Battlehawks. And I just think that Houston's offense is more high-powered than St. Louis's offense.
Agreed. I don't disagree
with you. So I
with
think
you.
if you're going to come into their house, the second game on the road for Seattle, I think Seattle's dealing with the coronavirus up there. Washington State has a lot.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that.
But Washington State as a whole is dealing with some things. So I think there's a lot of things that go into play here. But
hey, listen, by the way, I want to take credit for that because Cam and I have been fist bumping since episode 1. So listen, we're trying to make sure that none of us get the coronavirus over here on the show.
Adam Silver in the NBA swagger jacking our fist bump. We try to keep hands clean around the EAC show.
Absolutely.
So I'm taking Houston minus 12.5.
All right, so game 2.
Game 2 is New York Guardians at Dallas Renegades. We saw last week Landry Jones going down in a good fight, injuring his knee once again. So their quarterback situation is a little shaky in Dallas and in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. Perez did an amazing job of filling in. He game managed like you can game manage. No turnovers. Only had 150 yards, 1 touchdown. No one really stood out for the New York Guardians. New York Guardians ended up getting the W. The key question here is, what are the New York Guardians going to do on the road? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the New York Guardians for this game. And I think that just because Dallas and their whole quarterback situation and, Landry Jones not being able to play, they're going to have to go to the backup Nelson. I don't feel like they cover that spread. I think the Guardians end up winning.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have New York plus 8. And the same thing you just said, their quarterback situation, although New York has a shaky one in its own right, they figured out a way to win last week, which in my eyes, that's big.
They Band-Aided it.
Absolutely.
They Band-Aided
especially
it.
against a surging LA Wildcats team that blew up on DC 2 weeks ago. So I like New York just to cover the 8 points. I don't know if they win or not, but Dallas, it's going to be interesting to see what they do from the quarterback situation, because that Nelson guy you mentioned, he's from the AAF, the Cough League.
All right, the Cough League. So, I think, just for the record, I think they cover the 8 and they win. I did it a couple weeks ago with the LA Wildcats when they were playing DC. I said that LA was going to win with the spread and the game. I think the Guardians are going to win the spread and the game.
Bold. All right, so as 8-point dogs. I like that a lot. Okay, so we're both on New York. So we're split 1-1 as of right now. Sunday's games. The early game at 3 p.m., that's St. Louis Battlehawks at DC Defenders.
And I'm definitely going with the St. Louis Battlehawks. I don't even remember what the spread is. I'm not taking anybody else other than them.
-4 St. Louis. I think
-4 St. Louis. -4. I think Cardell Jones is not ready. I think he's looking to blame other people. And in all actuality, Jordan Tiamo, baller.
Yeah, and he's like we talked about last show, he only has 5 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground, but does not turn the ball over. He's a major game manager, and they have a better team overall. They have a built team from the back end of it to the front end.
His completion rating is above 70% usually almost every game. So it's absurd. So he gets the ball out quick. He knows that I got to get the ball in these playmakers' hand, let them do their thing, and let me just ride this wave.
Yeah, that and the St. Louis Battlehawks, again, is my number 1 team in the XFL. So I'm taking them -4. Just because I like their team as a whole. Mm-hmm. I think P.J. Walker leads his offense to greater things than that team can have. But at some point, that's going to stop.
Maybe.
It has to.
Maybe. Right? No, I don't think so. So I'm riding that wave. I'm sticking with the Houston Roughnecks the whole time.
I feel you on that. Okay, so we're together on that.
We're together on that game.
All right, so let's see if we can create a little animosity here on this last game, the late game, 9 p.m., the one that I'm going to be covering on Sunday night. That's Tampa Bay Vipers at LA Wildcats.
Who you got? Because I went first the first game, so you go last. You go last. In this
I'm
game.
taking Tampa +2. Tampa +2 and potential for them to win the money line, only because I think LA sort of caught lightning in a bottle against DC, and then they just completely go flat against a team in New York that we didn't really think was anything with a third-string quarterback.
For you guys listening and watching, I think Cameron got some of my notes earlier in the show because I'm going with the same exact thing. I'm going to take the Vipers +2. I think Cameron's philosophy is that
can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, can't beat him, join him. But I can't wear the crown this week if we take the same
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. We implement. Matter of fact, shout out to John at Antiques and More. He's the one who gave me the crown. And I was supposed to do that 2 shows ago, so I'm a little late on that. So on that little plug.
So you know what? I'm glad that I went first on this one, just so I wasn't piggybacking 3 off of Emilio here. So again, we're both on Tampa. I like their odds. I like their running game.
I love their running game.
It's incredible. They have 2 running backs to go over 100 yards apiece. We need to come up with
a better name than ground and pound for them. What can we come up with? Like, can we call them something?
Flash and dash.
Or just smash and something. I don't know.
Smash and cash.
Oh, man, I don't know. We got to come up with something. I need to come up with something creative.
It's really a 3-headed monster because Taylor Cornelius, their quarterback, he's got wheels on him also. I mean, he's got 2 running backs.
Right, so I got a better idea. Why don't we name what the actual team that plays against them does, which is a walk of shame. Like, literally. Okay. So, for the losing team that has to go up against that run attack offense, you could call them the walk of shame.
Okay, I like that a lot. So LA Wildcats, you are on a walk of shame.
You're on a walk of shame.
Red alert right now.
Absolutely, I don't disagree with you not one bit.
So that game I'm a little bit excited about because I thought the travel. We talked about the travel multiple weeks in a row here. Tampa to LA. That's a long distance.
But Tampa also, not for nothing, has the best offensive team in the league, and they have the best defensive team in the league. So they have those 2 components.
Best offensive team in the league the last 2 weeks.
Yes. So they literally have those offensive and defensive components. Now, Trey McBride has been amazing. He's been balling. Like, literally, since Josh Johnson became the quarterback of that team, he is killing it.
And we'll have to see if Martez Carter, the running back for the Wildcats,
and Spruce, who was out last game too.
Spruce was out as well.
Yeah, Spruce was out as well.
We'll have to check the injury report. Maybe if they're doubtful right now and then they end up playing, the line will jump a little bit, but it's just something to keep an eye out for. But I have Tampa with the points.
Did you get an update on those championship odds?
I did get it. Yeah, I did get an update on that.
Let me hear those championship odds.
So to win the XFL championship, I'll start top to bottom here. So the biggest value you're going to get is Seattle Dragons plus 2,800. So that's $10 to win 280 or 100 to win 2,800. You have Tampa Bay Vipers at plus 1,600.
You know what? That's kind of juicy.
I know that. You talked last week about it.
That's kind of juicy. And the only reason it's kind of juicy is because of how good they are on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Jerry Glanville, we said it and we talked about it and we reiterated the Remember the Titans segment, and I got a shout out for that because people love that because everybody remember the Titans. We are going to blitz all night. He said it on the telecast. He blitzed every freaking play and he wanted them to pick up the blitz.
Coach Ned Yost, he got robbed for the Virginia High School Football Hall of Fame because he took the right path of integration. Shout out Ned Yost.
Yeah, of course.
So we have Tampa plus 1,600. Then you have Los Angeles Wildcats plus 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
You have New York Guardians plus 850, which I don't really understand. I would think that Tampa or Los Angeles would have better odds than New York. But then you have Dallas Renegades plus 600.
Okay.
Which I don't like. DC Defenders at plus 400, which I'm surprised in. And then you have the St. Louis Battlehawks at plus 350, which I think is your best value. Plus 350 if you really like them a lot, drop a lot of money on that. And then Houston at plus 175, so they're close to even being even odds.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Vegas is telling you that the Houston Roughnecks, as long as they can stay healthy, are going to be XFL champions. And I agree 1,000%, barring a crazy injury.
Right, correct. And you never know in this XFL. It's wild enough to where something like that can happen in football in general. But I don't know how the seeding's going to work. It'll probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seed, whatever. There's not going to be there's going to be divisions, right? There's East and
course.
And West.
Yeah, East and West. Yeah, East and West. So I got a question for you, Cam. This is completely something that we didn't discuss, and it just came in my mind. When the season is actually over, which I'm not trying to rush things, but I just want to get your opinion on this. A player like P.J. Walker was a practice squad player before.
On the Colts.
The Colts. Do you think he actually gets a solid contract in the NFL?
I don't think he gets a contract right away. I think he gets invitations for workouts. I think they're going to see enough. They're going to have enough game tape on film for him. But at the end of the day, I think they're still just going to bring him in and work him out and see if they fit his system and fit their system, whatever team that is.
Do you feel like that's a disservice to him, though? Do you feel like that's
I do. I think the game tape should be enough, and we're going to have to see what happens here. If he continues this absolute streak that he's on and flies through the playoffs and wins the championship, I say some team's going to sign him right away. But my gut tells me that they're going to bring him in for workouts, and then ultimately they'll sign him on as either a backup or a desperate team.
I think in all actuality, out of the XFL, the ones that are going to get the biggest chances are the special teams players, the kickers and the punters.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get looked at the most out of all of XFL players because they're constantly playing, so that you have more footage on them. So they'll be much easier to bring in. Like the guy Rocinio from St. Louis,
right?
Marquette King, obviously. Maybe a couple other kickers that are in the league will probably get looked at as well. So we'll see how it ends up happening. But for me, I think PJ Walker should get some type of contract in the NFL. I don't think he should be a practice squad player.
Right, and if this continues, if his dominance continues, and I'm an NFL GM of one of the lower teams in the league, I know I give him a chance right away.
Absolutely.
I put him on my roster, and I give him first team reps in the offseason to see what we have. A lot of these teams in the NFL, they'll fly out to different teams and they'll do live scrimmages.
Right.
I want to see that.
Yeah, of course. And I want to see PJ Walker at least get a chance in those preseason games to be able to show everybody what he's been showing on the XFL film.
Right. Yeah, correct. And as far as the other positions that I do think are NFL worthy or that NFL teams will want or seek after, you're talking about positions that have short shelf lives in the NFL. Running backs, linebackers, positions like that where career-wise, running backs will average 3 years per career.
Absolutely.
So to get a guy like a Martez Carter or Cameron Artis-Payne and bring him back in,
or give Donald Palmer another chance in the NFL.
The tight end,
6'8" tight end.
Yeah,
he should be playing on the Milwaukee Bucks. He shouldn't be like he's tall as hell.
I know, and so some of these linebackers that I've been watching. Also, I'm a big defensive guy, so I love seeing some of these guys run sideline to sideline, short shelf life, just like running backs. You're going to see guys like that. We're going to have to keep note of it. You're going to see guys like that fly off the shelf in the offseason, I believe.
Yeah, I don't agree. I agree. I agree totally. And this week XFL hopefully is just as good as last week. I got a couple people that contacted me and let me know about how they really did enjoy it. And I told them, I said from the beginning, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, we saw it before really anyone else did.
So this part of the show is brought to you by ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche or a natural pre-workout shot of Cuban coffee to start your day. Their daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC. So, Marcus Mack, our sound guy, can you tell us what our EAC headlines are going to be about today?
I love this segment.
Yeah, we got a great response. We tried it for the first time last Wednesday. We got a great response on it. People really enjoyed it. They wanted to hear more about it, so we're going to tackle a few headlines today. So, Marcus Mack, let's get into headline number one.
All right, headline number one, we're discussing CBS gives Tony Romo a $17 million a year deal, which that's big on the table right now.
Huge. That's the biggest. Have we seen? That's the biggest announcer for broadcasting for the NFL deal that we've seen, contract that we've seen in time. Am I wrong here?
Shout
what
out
does Chris Collinsworth make?
Listen, I only looked up one person. I looked up who Tony Romo works with, and that's Nance.
Yeah, Jim Nance.
And Jim Nance does golf, college basketball, and football. And what I looked up, he makes $5 million a year.
Get out of here. So Romo's just making that for one
Romo
day a
just
week?
Romo's just making that just to talk about football. And you know what? Shout out to Tony Romo, because I ain't knocking you. I love how you're getting your bread. It's a supply and demand thing. The demand is there for him. The people love the way he expresses to the audience what's going on the field. I've expressed this with the XFL. The XFL did a really good job of showing the audience what Monday, X, Y, Z, H-back, what all this means. Tony Romo literally predicts what a team is going to do before the ball is snapped.
Yeah, he does all that in live time for the viewers.
And right now that is engaging the audience, which means that there's more viewers watching CBS games, which means Tony Romo can justify why you're going to pay him $17 million a season.
Right, and Jim Nance, just going off what you said earlier, he sort of was doing what like Mike Tirico did. He sort of had his arms reached out everywhere in different sports, and he's the play-by-play guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the color guy is who makes the most money in these situations, and that's what Romo's doing. That's what Chris Collinsworth is to Al Michaels. That's what Booger McFarland is to what's his name?
I know Joe Tessitore.
Joe Tess, right? So guys like Tony Romo, I understand that they're making more money, but we saw Michael Thomas from the Saints come out and saying, how is he making more money than all of us?
Well, listen,
it's different. He's getting paid by the NFL.
Right. It's different. So the thing is this. It's different. Michael Thomas is the highest paid receiver because of supply and demand. Same exact thing. Tony Romo was the highest paid announcer because of supply and demand. It's two totally different things. It's just like this. I'll give you a prime example. I saw a statistic that in the whole career of Michael Jordan, I think he made $145 million playing basketball. Career earnings.
Wow, yeah.
And he just made $145 million last year. So it's supply and demand. It's more about, just getting with the time. So
you build the name, and then they want something.
You build it and they'll come.
So Tony Romo built his name high enough to where he can demand $17 million. Now, speaking on Booger McFarland and Joe Tessitore, I'm a big advocate of either bringing in Peyton Manning to Monday Night Football or bringing in Mr. Excitement, Pat McAfee.
Well, did you see, I love Pat McAfee, when he does the Thursday night American Conference football games, and I'm like the only one watching?
Nutty. But I give it to him. He does need the right team around him. So you can't just bring in Pat with the people that are there. You have to bring in Pat with people he feels comfortable with.
And I did see something before CBS gave that contract to Tony Romo. Mm-hmm. They were thinking about bringing Manning in. Just because it would have been less money, and it still would have gave you the clicks and the viewership, and it would still have drawn all that.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Tony Romo, you got a target on your back, because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people are gonna be sitting there saying to themselves, now that you're making that type of money,
all right, earn it.
Earn it. You got to bring. Not only do you have to do what you're doing, now you have to do more.
Right, correct.
Absolutely.
And as far as Romo as a whole in his position, I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does moving forward and to sort of change things, because he pushes, as far as social media, he pushes the needle more like any other announcer in the game.
Agreed.
When you look he had one game last year where the call went a certain way and he goes, "Ball don't lie."
Yeah, of course.
And everyone on Twitter, "Ball don't lie, ball don't lie, ball don't lie."
Yeah, he's so on point with it. He's predicting what the offense is going to do, and he's telling them if the offense does this, then the defense is going to react this way. And it just so ends up happening that way exactly. So he deserves his money. I'm happy for him, and good for him.
Right, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard somewhere 2 years ago when he first started doing this that when he was predicting all these plays, everyone was like, "Oh my God, how's he doing? How's he doing?" Obviously, a quarterback, so he can sort of read what's going on and feel out the situation. But I heard somewhere that, and it might have been nonsense, but through CBS, they have a frequency where they can hear faintly in their ear the coach's call to the quarterback.
Oh, it's possible. I mean, the XFL,
the
XFL has exploited that part. So basically, what we hear as an audience through XFL games, to CBS has probably been hearing for some time now.
Right.
So based off the certain things, the cadences and the stuff that they're giving on that feed, it's possible that Romo gets it a little bit ahead, and then he didn't regurgitates it to the audience.
Right, but I mean, good flex on him in order to be able to turn that into a $17 million contract.
So Marcus, let's get topic number 2.
All right, topic number 2. We're gonna go into more or less, I would say, entertainment, because this is really huge for the fans and the enthusiasts of baseball. It's about giving all of the players mics inside of on the field, and so the fans could pretty much hear what they're saying on the field.
So we saw a little bit of this the other day with Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. We also saw some of it today with the Mets. I sent you on Instagram. I sent you and Marcus Mack a little bit of that. I personally feel like in spring training games, it's cool. You can mic the players. You can mic, managers. You could talk to them, vice versa with the booth. Regular season games and playoff games, you can't do that. You have to mic the field itself. You have to put mics on the pitcher's mound, home plate, first base, second base, third base. You have to put mics. You have to mic the field itself so we can hear, because you're going to disrupt the game a little bit by trying to get questions and answers out of players that are trying to really at bat during serious games. And spring training is cool, but when the games become real games, you're not going to get that. So I say make the whole field hot.
Yeah.
Turn up the volume on everything. get those big. I know you see him on the sidelines when you're watching like NFL games. You see those big like
the sound boom.
Those sound boom things that they hold. Put all those out there and let's hear the whole field.
I agree with that, and of course we just talked about it weeks ago with the XFL. It's inclusion. It's fan inclusion. It's something to where you can bring younger people into the fold of MLB now, because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear the personalities that baseball has to offer, which I've said multiple times has some of the best personalities that we've seen.
Absolutely.
Obviously, our guy Rizzo showing that the other day.
Right. Dominic Smith did the same thing. Today he came up to at bat. He said, listen, I haven't seen a fastball from Flaherty. Let me see if I'm going to get a fastball. He got a fastball, missed it by taking it out by that much. But all of that insight was what the fans want to hear, you know?
Right.
As a matter of fact, it got to a point where I didn't even want to hear the announcers, Vasgersian, Tim Kirchin, the other guy, what's his name? He's on in the mornings, Phillips and Eduardo Perez. Eduardo Perez talking because I just wanted to hear the players.
Right.
I just wanted to hear his reaction to a pitcher that's throwing 97, has a good breaking ball, has a slider, has a changeup. He has to react to, how is this guy going to try to get me out, and how am I going to be successful off of him?
Right, put the mics on the field. Let me hear the rowdiness of the dugout after a home run. Let me hear the argument between the catcher or the or the batter and the umpire behind the plate.
That actually happened early in the first inning. So it happened in the first inning. Dominic Smith came up to bat, and Flaherty threw a pitch, and Dominic Smith didn't agree that it was a strike. So then the umpire, he was talking to the umpire. He wasn't talking to the pitcher. And the pitcher told him, get back in the box. And then Dominic Smith is like, I'm not even talking to you. That interaction, mic'd up, is what I need to hear.
Yeah, we all want that. And remember last year when who's the manager for the Yankees?
Boone.
Boone, remember when he came out and he was like, my guys are savages
My guys are savages in the box.
We heard that like the next day or two.
Beautiful.
If we would have heard that live.
Beautiful.
Oh, would have been.
Absolutely. Social media, every T-shirt company in the Bronx, they all bootlegged it. My guys are savages in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he dropped a lot more F-bombs and sugar honey iced teas, but that's basically what he's trying to say.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the reason why.
Gardner banging on the dugout with the bat. We need that. MLB, people will pay $10 more for what they pay already for the whole season to hear all of that unfiltered, unplugged. Please get with the program, get with the times, mic up the whole field, let us hear everything.
And if it's and if there is a 5 to 7 second delay with the mics on the field to what you're seeing on TV, if there's any F-bombs or anything like that, you can stop that. You can blur it out. You can beep it out. It might be tough, but if that's what people want, you got to give it to them. We keep talking about that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the XFL 100% pays all those FCC fines for the content that's coming out. You know what I'm saying? They 100% have no problem doing that whatsoever. So Marcus Mack, now that you're not too busy, can we get topic number 3, please, sir?
What are you watching over there?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you exactly what just happened. Right?
Marcus Mack, boy.
Because the next topic, this is actually about the next topic. The next topic is about Spike Lee and his incident with Madison Square Garden.
So was that where you were watching?
No. Yeah, well, yes. And I went looking for it on my phone, and I'm like, okay, where is it? And then something else popped up on my phone. I'm like, no, don't do this right now.
Got a Charmin ad popped up on his phone. I'll jump on it.
Okay.
Yes.
So this whole Spike Lee and the Knicks situation, it's sort of a little wild. You saw Charles Oakley come out and he got arrested and yanked out of the court last year. He came out in support of Spike Lee, but the basis, and Emilio, you'll elaborate on it, is Spike Lee for 28 years has been going through the employees' entrance on 33rd Street. And for whatever reason, now that there's new ownership or a new president, excuse me, not a new owner, a new president, sort of changing things up. They told him to go to the gate on 31st Street and go in general admission.
Now listen, as a business owner myself, you as a business owner have the right to implement policies whenever you want. Whenever you want. You can literally sit there and say it's yours. You can't, it's yours. It's your property. You can tell people. Now, are you going to rub people the wrong way? Absolutely. Are you going to rub Spike Lee, who spent, it said, almost like $30 million in the last 10 years buying tickets for the Knicks? Absolutely. The Knicks dropped the ball on this, but I don't have a problem with Madison Square Garden enforcing new policy on everyone. Treat everyone the same. Spike Lee shouldn't be no different. If he's not an employee, he shouldn't come in the employee's entrance. Now, did Madison Square Garden not properly inform him? Absolutely, they did not properly inform him. But that's someone else's job. And that's what Spike Lee has to understand. Spike Lee has to understand that he wasn't properly informed of the new policy by someone else. That the security guards that are there are just doing their jobs.
Right. It's a message from above that they got. So that's exactly where I'm at. You nailed it perfectly. It's not what they did, it's how they did it.
How they handled it.
Call Spike Lee. He's been going there for 28 years for these games. He spent $10 million in seats overall. Call the man before.
He did say 10 million. I'm sorry.
Overall.
All right.
So call the man beforehand, the day before, the day of, and let him know what the new policy is so he doesn't look like an idiot when he walks up there and now he's got to backtrack and go around.
I also did see on social media, I saw a lot of the rant. A lot of the rant that happened on the show, and I'm not gonna say the show's name because they don't help us out, so we're not gonna help them out. So I saw a lot of the rant on it, and I get it. It's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of he's a super fan. He loves his Knicks.
Yeah, but I think it's just beyond him being a super fan. When you think about the New York Knicks and Madison Square Garden, you think of
of course
Spike Lee.
You think he's of course,
yeah.
And that's what he's saying. I think he would have literally went the other way had he been informed. I don't disagree with Spike.
I definitely.
I don't disagree with Spike not one bit. Protocol. Spike would have went. It was proper protocol, and he was informed. He would have literally went in a different direction. And I agree with what he said. He said, "Listen, they wanted to kick me out, and I know you can't enter a place without, if you get kicked out, you can't come back in." So he got escorted the proper way to his seats, which is the right thing to do. But I think this completely got blown out of proportion. Someone didn't properly do their job. Spike knows that somebody didn't properly do their job. He was just voicing his frustration, and that show was giving him the platform to say his piece.
Yeah, right. Some headlines.
Yeah, exactly. It was good for the show.
Yeah,
it was great for the show. I'm not knocking the show. I don't knock the show not one bit.
Of course, but most things can remain an isolated incident.
Of course. I mean, the statement that the Knicks released, I think it was poor taste statement. I think you have to take the higher role. I think you have to, as an organization of that caliber, you don't do that. You have to release a much more polished statement, in my opinion.
And I think what Marcus said, you kind of nailed it. When you think about the Knicks, you think about him. It's kind of like Jay-Z with the Yankee hat. He's sort of embalmed in the Knicks culture and what you think of immediately. So I do think that they wronged him a little bit with how they treated him.
Yeah,
but
it was a spit in the face.
Right, but it's what I got out of it. It was sort of wrong both ways. They were wrong for how they did it, but I didn't like how Spike portrayed what happened.
No, of course, absolutely.
He said people don't want to talk about it, but it's bad. It's a plantation over there.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that one bit. I don't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with that is because this man employs minorities. He employs minorities. His team president, just recently was a minority.
Right.
Which, in all actuality, some sports have a problem hiring minorities.
Right.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't think necessarily that has any bias. I think that some people are just a little bit frustrated about the situation. I just literally feel like the New York Knicks and whoever was in charge of notifying Spike Lee dropped the ball. And Spike went on a rant, and it's okay, it's understandable with the amount of money he's invested into the Knicks and how much passion he has for it. It's understandable.
I get where he's coming from.
I think it's just blown out of proportion.
But his feelings must have been very hurt in order for him to compare going in a different entrance to a basketball game to a slave plantation.
Listen,
that's an extreme level.
I mean, this is the man that made Malcolm X, which is a great movie. He's that level. He's that level of of standing up for what he believes in. And it's Spike. There's nothing wrong with what Spike did, but there's nothing wrong with what the Knicks did neither. It was just the message wasn't handed down properly.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're right.
That's it.
Yeah,
What's the next headline for us, Marcus, please?
All right, the next headline, which is the last headline, we're going into college basketball. Oh, we're actually going into the coronavirus. Okay.
Not the beer. Not the beer.
Not the beer.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 2 college basketball programs canceled games against Seattle University because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, so we saw this happened only a couple days ago. Chicago State and University of Missouri, Kansas City canceling games back-to-back against Seattle University basketball. And this is sort of happening, all over the place throughout the country. It's something to keep your eye on outside of sports, but because of what happened to Seattle University, it gives us a route in order for us to talk about it. So it's in the sports realm, but I mean, it's a little alarming. 10 out of, I think the overall reason why those two schools canceled those games is because 10 out of the 11 coronavirus deaths in the U.S. are in Washington State. So Washington State as a whole is dealing with this issue.
Hey, listen, I'm okay with that. Better safe than sorry. You know, you don't want to expose people to stuff that they don't need to be exposed to over basketball.
Oh, so Washington State overall is one of the top states
Out of 11 people that died in the U.S., 10 of them are in Washington State.
So if anything, the precaution should have been taken by Seattle.
Yeah, they came out and they were like, it's disappointing because we're taking extreme measures to make sure that travel and everything is okay, but we understand where they're coming from.
I mean, leagues have sent out memos to tell players what to do, not to sign autographs, not to shake hands, like only fist bumps and stuff like that. The NBA has sent out that memo. There's actually a league in Italy. This is true.
Poor LeBron. He's got like 97 different handshakes with his teammates, past teammates.
Can't do it no more.
He can't do none of that anymore.
So there's a league in Italy for the next month. A league in Italy, Serie A, is not playing games with fans in the stadiums. The stadiums are going to be completely empty for the next month during games, just so the coronavirus does not get spread.
Yeah, listen, after this whole coronavirus thing passes, in memory of the coronavirus, we're just going to walk past each other and go like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, no, we can just clink Coronas. Like, literally, we can just literally clink Coronas. And that's sad because Corona's taking such a beating. The beer itself is taking such a beating because there's actually people that done surveys that 40% of people actually think drinking Corona, you're going to get the coronavirus. That's sad.
That's insane.
That's really sad.
That really is absurd.
No, but I'm okay with, these leagues and the NCAA and certain colleges taking precaution about this whole thing. This is a very serious thing. People, you do have to wash your hands. Wash your hands for 30 seconds at least. If your baby's coughing, turn that the other way so nobody can get anything or whatever it may be. Yeah, like turn it the other way.
Actually, I see people do this all the time, which I don't understand why they do it. They sneeze in their hands or they cough in their hands.
You got to dab. You got to almost dab with it.
Yeah,
this is EAC WebMD right now. This is what this is right now.
How to sneeze, how to wash your hands.
Exactly.
I hope you're watching on YouTube. We'll give you a tutorial after this. But as far as that Italian league, the soccer league, Italy itself is the most, hit country in the eastern side of Europe.
That's why they're doing it.
The western side of Europe.
The crazy part about it is no one's actually measured the ramifications that come from a financial standpoint of how much revenue you're actually going to lose by canceling that many fans to come to games.
Concession sales,
jersey sales, just tickets itself.
Parking sales.
Even if you really want to think about it, sponsors, commercial advertisers can go to those leagues and say, "Hey, we want a reimbursement because we're not touching an audience that we need to be touching." It's
an act of God, though. You can't ask for reimbursement for something like a flu or a natural disaster.
It's not like they can take precautions that will cost them less, to where they can still have these games and they can still carry on with regular scheduled programming.
Cameron just sounded like he went to UCF Law or something. Like an act of God. Like
I'm well versed.
What are you, an insurance company guy?
I got a low key. I'm well versed in bird law.
Listen? Can you imagine what somebody getting an insurance policy right now would be like? In the midst of this. In the midst of this. It'd be like, wait, what state you're in? Washington? Your premium sky high.
That's a good question. You know what? Maybe we should do EAC insurance and literally insure people that can't be insured.
We can branch. I know people. We can branch off.
Insurance companies, holla at us, please. Holla at us.
So this part of the show is brought to you by ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. And enjoy a cafe con leche or a natural pre-workout shot of Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwiches next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC. So for the last part of this actual show, we're over here watching Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, and this game at first was
a blowout,
33-10, I think, in the first quarter. And good on the Pacers. They're a gritty team. They came back on the road here. They're now down 7 points with halfway to go in the third quarter.
Absolutely. The key matchup after this game is the game that we're going to watch is and we're probably going to report on Friday, is the Dallas Mavericks versus the New Orleans Pelicans. We got Prince Zion. I can't wait to be King Zion versus Luka Doncic. Luka's a baller.
Yeah,
Luka's a baller.
He does it all. I like that. I like the kind of
Hey,
player.
real quick, who you got? You got Dallas with Luka, or you got New Orleans tonight? Who you think? New Orleans. Who you got, CJ? New Orleans. Who
I
you
like
got?
the way New Orleans is.
I'm going with Dallas.
I just
Hold on.
can't wait to be king.
Hold on, let me see what the spread is. It's Dallas minus 5.5. So I'm taking. Give me New Orleans plus 5.5. I don't know about the win.
I'll just go Dallas money line because I think Dallas ends up pulling it off. I just saw. You know why Dallas is gonna win? I'm gonna tell you why Dallas is gonna win. Dallas is gonna win is because I saw Mark Cuban shooting jump shots before the game started. ESPN was showing a little bit of preview before the game, and Mr. Billionaire just shooting jump shots in the gym. You know that famous saying, "You wasn't with me shooting in." Mark Cuban is with him shooting in the gym, so that's why Porzingis and Luka Doncic is literally going to win tonight's game over Prince Zion in the New Orleans Pelicans.
He had some time to burn before his latest episode of Shark Tank.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine sitting there telling people like, yo, you don't need like a LA Fitness membership, or you don't need an Equinox. Equinox is a really big gym, like a real private gym. You don't need an Equinox membership because I got my own gym, I got my own arena, I got my own team, I got my own everything.
That's goals. That's goals. That's where we want to be.
Wow. Major goals.
Just pulling off an NBA here. I wanted to mention last night in college basketball a continuation of these ranked teams losing. Just to give everyone an update here, unranked Rutgers beat number 9 Maryland. Purdue, who is unranked, beat ranked Iowa, number 18 Iowa. And unranked Tennessee beat number 6 Kentucky.
The inconsistency,
we just continue to see it.
Yeah, the inconsistency in college basketball this year is just unprecedented in comparison to any other year. Usually in any other year, you have strong number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, whatever. Ranked teams this year are just losing.
Yeah, it's like a plague. If you get a number next to your name, everyone's going down. What I think a different format that they need to take, Emilio, because of all these teams going down early on in the year, they just need to have no numbers next to these teams.
And just play?
Just play. And then you know what?
That's a good idea.
Before March Madness, let's rank these teams. Let's seed the teams
But
out.
the problem with that is these networks wouldn't have shows to talk about because the shows rank the teams based off of the number. So
Yeah.
Joe Lunardi, you basically cut Joe Lunardi's feet from under him if you do that,
But if they're good enough at predicting these seedings,
And Joe Lunardi, I think Joe Lunardi is actually the person that selects what they are.
yeah, the Lunardi seeding.
He's that good. He's a legend. Like,
I know.
He's literally that good.
But if they're that good, let all these teams just play their entire schedules out. Let them play their conference championship tournaments, and then seed them based off their record and their quality of wins versus the opponents. It's
I don't have a problem with
a
that.
knock to all these ranked teams where you see a team that was ranked coming out in the preseason rankings, and now they're like 16-12 or something.
I mean, but you gotta play the games. At the end of the day, you still gotta play the games. So you gotta, the Cinderella part of the NCAA also is enjoyable as well. So
Yeah, it is.
you might have somebody that wasn't even in the running in the beginning, and now all of a sudden they're a top 10 team.
I know, and that's just stemming off of what I said. That's sort of my underlying. I have a college football grudge against the committee, the 13 folks that pick.
Oh my
pick all the
god!
team.
I'm telling you right now, when we get into college football with this kid,
Yeah.
it's the content
Pop
is going to
off.
be flame emoji all day long. Flame emoji.
'Cause
Rocket emoji.
I'll give
That's all it's
you
going to
I'll
be.
give you a short snippet. In my mind, if this committee is so good, these 13 beat writers and these athletic directors of some of the colleges trying to get into the college football playoff.
Tell them why you mad, Karen. Tell them why you mad.
If they're that good, let all these teams be unranked before the year starts.
Tell them why you mad, Cameron. Tell them why you mad.
And then once the week 12 or whatever it is, or
Tell them
week
why you
10,
mad, Cameron. Tell them why you mad.
before we get into the college football playoffs, then rank these teams going into bowl season.
This guy in rant, man. I'm telling you.
We need a whole segment.
Tell them why you
Just
mad.
I'm just saying.
Tell them why you mad. College football.
Preseason rankings mean nothing. I hate that they think they know what they're talking about because at the end of the year, everything's different. And the AP poll, that's the entire year going on, the college football playoffs, when they pick it up,
He's ready.
I'm telling you right now.
He's ready.
I'm not even gonna come in that day. I'm just gonna let Cameron do the show.
His face got red and everything.
I'm hot. The committee literally just does what the AP poll says. They don't even. They're not even mad.
College football rants for Cameron. Done deal. Wrap. Segment done. Finished. I'm not even gonna show up that day.
Have some essential water.
I will have some right now. Bring us to September already, man. I'm waiting.
Well, guys, listen. I need you guys to sit there, subscribe, like, comment. The engagement on social media has been great. Let's keep it up. Subscribe to us on every podcast platform. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment on YouTube. We'll respond back. We appreciate all the love and support. That's going to conclude episode 11. Check us out, episode 12. Marcus Mack, we appreciate you. Happy birthday, Janiyah. Clarence Josie, we appreciate you. Emilio Jr., love you. Cameron, good job.
Good stuff, man.
We'll see you episode 12. Check us out on IG Live, too.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.